Hi, thank you for joining me for another Dear Sam Horse Help Horsemanship series video. This week I wanted to discuss the topic of after the fact. And what I mean by that is I often get asked for help about things like, why does my horse race off after the jump? Why does my horse always walk home faster on the trail ride than when we're heading out? Why, when I get on and sit in the saddle, does my horse start to walk off? Why does my horse start to pull on the reins when I'm trying to ask him to stop? These sort of questions are all results of after the fact, meaning that whatever the initial communication was with that horse was creating a degree of defensiveness, whether it was mental or physical, towards the pressure that the human was communicating with. And when this happens, we see unwanted results. And the problem that I have is that by the time people are asking questions, it is often too late, meaning we don't try and contain the horse after the spook. We don't try and stop the horse from bolting backwards in the unloading of the trailer. What we should try and focus on is what are the specific segmented pieces of communication and ways in which we communicate that have value to the horse, meaning that he is not fearful of it, he is not defensive of it, and he is not trying to flee from the human communication when we present each of these scenarios. So it's not about the task of slowly unloading out of the horse trailer. It is a question of how did the horse feel when he was being asked to load into the trailer, mentally, emotionally, not just looking at the task of did all 4 feet get in, and that perhaps he was contained, he was tight, he was fearful, he was defensive. And so when we swing open that trailer door, we see suddenly much chaos as the horse goes to unload. That is an after the fact response to what it felt like for the horse to load into the trailer and to be in the trailer. So if you're having trouble or challenges with your horse and you're asking these type of questions, maybe stop and think about that the things that you are currently thinking of as the problem are perhaps just a symptom of a much deeper root cause or causes that are leading to these unwanted experiences or outcomes that you're having with your horse. And what I find is the more aggressively people try to shut down and contain the unwanted behavior, because again, that is a result of the horse's defensiveness towards the human communication, then the horse comes up with new unwanted behaviors. And so you can see this can become a very vicious cycle where it always feels like the human is responding after the fact with critique and the horse is not gaining confidence. He becomes more defensive. He loses his curiosity. New and unfamiliar situations overwhelm him and cause fear and concern, rather than feeling like the way in which we are communicating with the horse has value to the horse to be able to direct and redirect his thought, to be able to influence changes in his energy, to be able to have him halt and mentally process and emotionally let down so that situations do not become overwhelming. And then we piece together what are the segments of things such as trailer loading, mounting, standing quietly, approaching the jump in a soft, balanced manner rather than chasing our horse and then having him land unbalanced and then fleeing off afterwards. So each of these scenarios is not an all of a sudden, it is not a random response, but I find that many people have learned how to sneak through situations with their horse, and it seems like the horse is complying, meaning the horse is not scaring the human too much, and then the human thinks they are successful, and so they keep asking more of the horse until at some point they ask something that is too overwhelming to the horse to be able to handle basically on his own. And so all of a sudden he starts to offer these unwanted behaviors, which were really there all along, but perhaps he was able to tolerate the initial less difficult tasks or scenarios, and then as things progressed, it wound up becoming overwhelming for him mentally and emotionally. So take some time, think about where there's areas where maybe your horse is offering excessive movement, or if you have to ask him 2, 3, 4 times in order to get a response or get a change in what he is offering. Notice if your horse is available to consider you at times of stress or concern, or do you feel like you no longer exist? If you are missing these crucial initial pieces of the ability to influence your horse's thought, emotions, and body, then you have to remember every single thing you're asking of him, you're just being hopeful about. So it's not a matter of if you're going to have a problem, it's a matter of when. And again, for most people, as long as they're sneaking it, then they don't want to put in the effort in refining because it seems like it's not that bad. And so they keep going, and then they wind up getting into a bad situation, perhaps creating fear in themselves or fear in their horse, perhaps even worse, they wind up getting injured. But most of these situations, when we step back and we look at the history of how the interactions have been going, there are always red flags that indicate when the horse is having a problem. So if we took some time and we learned to let go of our ego and our agenda, and we practiced believing the horse's communication, putting value to his communication, and acknowledging his communication to help him be able to mentally and physically work through scenarios we present in a confidence building manner, the outcome of the new, of the unfamiliar, becomes a confidence building opportunity rather than an overwhelming, hopeful moment that we hope we're surviving. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you next time.